lately I've been numb to my feelings. Got 100 in this job. I've been climbing through your building. I can pull up on the aisle.
What's the deal, everyone? And thank you so much for tuning in to our third episode of No Feelings. I'm your host, Brazil Smith, and we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. To my left is probably one of my closest friends coming out of the IE, because, you know, I'm an IE boy, and it feels good to, you know, have some diversity on the show, you know, so bring my boy out, straight out the sandbox, straight out of Ranchview Elementary. My boy David, my boy Crooks.
Hell yeah. You already know. Thank you for having me, man.
Hey, man. You already know the deal. Thanks for coming out. You already know it's rainy. It's late as fuck. I appreciate that shit.
No, yeah, I had to come support my boy. You know, I had to come support you.
Hey, it's a work in progress. We're going to see what the fuck is. Just as long as you guys are fucking with it, then, you know, I'm right there with you guys. I got your back. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's David, obviously. I go by Crooks, though. I grew up in Ontario, California. Been there basically my whole life. Family's always lived over there, so, you know, just grew up around there. Moved around, jumped around, you know how it is, so you were there. So, other than that, like, you know, jumped around schools, you know, but other than that, like, I always stayed in the same school, so, like, I could always be with the homies.
So you, cause all right, fuck it. I already know. Everybody knows that we grew up together. Fucking, we went to Ranchview, we went to Grace Hill. I did the dash when I was in the 7th grade. So, you know, I don't really, you know what went down from that point. Why don't you go ahead and tell me about, you know, 8th grade, high school, shit like that.
Well, after that, man, like I said, you know how we were. So I was always just a fool, you know, growing up. So once I like started growing up to that age, you know, we're already becoming young adults. So, you know, at that age, I'm more like getting into the game, you know, smoking my bud, you know, drinking, you know, partying, you know. So, like, you know how it is. So, you niggas is growing up. So, other than that, like, I was like just being a fool, you know, and then I started realizing who I really was at that time. So, I was just like, you know what, like, I started kicking it with certain people and started kicking it with other people that were older than me, and I started getting influenced. You know how it is. So once I started doing that, I started doing things, you know, at that age we shouldn't really be doing, you know, but it is what it is. You know, I kind of had to grow up kind of young, fast, real young, because, you know, my mom was always just a single parent. So, like, I didn't really have, like, my father figure really there. I always had him when I was younger, but growing up, he kind of just did his own thing. So, like, I didn't really have a father figure really growing up, and I think that's when it really is more important, because
when you're a youngster, you're trying to figure out what your identity is.
You know, you're trying to be a man, you know. So, like, you're trying to really take that step. So I didn't really have that guidance. So it was just me and my mom's, but, you know, she's always
This is like junior year, senior year of high school.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I'm starting to grow up now. So, like, mom's is always at work, you know, trying to feed, you know. And I was just one child, you know. I was just a single child. So I didn't have no siblings growing up. So it was just always me, you know. So, like, you know, mom's always trying to take care of me. She did her thing, you know. That's why I always support my mom's. Like,
what was mom doing for?
She was working. She was a manager at like a hospital. So,
okay.
Yeah, so she's always been real solid, you know. She's always did her thing. That was one person I always looked up to. Like, she always just did her thing.
That's my inspiration. Is my mom. She's been a teacher, and that's why I'm like, man, I gotta live up to her expectations, to her standards. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah. Mom's always showed me the right path, and that's why I gotta, you know,
do what you gotta do.
Do what exactly, you know, just like you said, you do what you gotta do. So now, you know, it was a hard step, you know, like I said, when I was young in that type of era in junior, I was always going in and out of juvenile hall, you know, so, like, wasn't really in school like that. I was always in juvenile hall. So when I would come out, you know, everybody would be doing their own thing, you know, like, I'm trying to get back in the groove. And, you know, but once I got out of that phase, I was like, you know what, mom's told me, she was like, you can't live here unless you graduate, you know. So I was like, you know what, let me just graduate real quick. So I did my thing, you know.
Yep.
So after that, you know, I was just like, you know what, I just gotta, you know, rewind real quick and just realize, like, she gave me that second chance. You know,
that's why I want you here, man, because you were able to figure this shit out when you were young.
Yeah.
And that was something that that we were fortunate enough to accomplish. Go through the bullshit, when we were kids. I remember we were at Ranchview. We was organizing fights and we was like
5th grade,
hooking
bro.
up with females. We was going crazy. It didn't
crazy,
matter.
man. Like, that's what I'm saying. And we were young, bro.
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
Young, and like I feel like we were just at a young age where I feel like we were kind of the way I grew up, maybe the way you grew up. We were just influenced by certain things. Like
we saw it. It looked smooth. It looked cool.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like and I felt like there was other people too that were around us that we were all just influencing each other, because we had our little group, when we were young. So like I feel like we all just like influenced each other. So once I grew up and like realized like, okay, like I gotta figure out something. Like we can't be doing this forever. Like it's not a forever thing. Unfortunately, it's not. Sometimes
as cool as it seems too, because it started to get scary, bro. Like I was like, shit, I'm 17 years old. Man. I gotta figure this shit out.
I gotta figure it out. And like me, college wasn't my thing. School wasn't really my thing. Like even growing up, you know how it was. Just school wasn't really my thing, man. Like even though like I was a smart guy, I always studied and I always did my thing. Like I knew what I needed to do.
I remember back in elementary school, you weren't, niggas didn't have S.
I wasn't stupid, bro, but like I just didn't. It just wasn't my thing, and it's not always for everybody. The books wasn't really my thing. So when I grew up, I was like, I need to figure out what I need to do working wise. Something legit. Because being in the game, man, that shit ain't. It only lasts for so long. There's only 2 routes to it. So it's like either you're dead or in prison.
Dead or in prison.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like so. The way I was looking at it, the way I grew up, my father and them were always in and out of prison, and I seen the way they lived and the way they were doing their thing, and I didn't want to be the same as them, I seen that they didn't really have nothing going for their life, and they're already in their 40s, 50s, and it's like...
But of course, there's still that level of respect.
Of course, they're your father, but like, it's just like, wow, like, all right, like I want to be like them, but I want to do better.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Like the better version of them. So like that's basically what I needed to figure out. And once I graduated high school, I was like, you know what? Let me get into the working. And like I said, it's not always like fucking I just started working and I got this fantastic job.
Hell no,
it's not like that.
You gotta keep going. Like,
because when I was younger, I always thought like, okay, like, once I turn 18, like I'm gonna get this great job, and boom, I made it.
Solid. And that's the problem. Like, you gotta tell us how to do our taxes. You gotta tell us about credit card. You gotta let us know what the deal is.
Yes, exactly. So growing up, I kind of had to learn on my own, but like my mom was there, like I said, so she kind of always showed me the ropes. Thank God, because without her, I feel like I would have been lost. I would have been on my own. Like basically, I feel like if I was on my own, I kind of would have just threw my life away. Like I would have probably ended up in prison and just been there my whole life and my whole life wasted.
I feel you.
So like her really showing me the ropes and what I needed to do was like
I feel you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit of the memories you remember from Ranchview, because I mean, like I said, I remember the shuffling battles. I remember the DJ parties. I remember the motherfucking.
I remember, man, all of them, man. Like now that I think about it, like when I was in junior high, I didn't really think about those times. But now that I'm older, those are all the times I think about.
You know what I'm saying? It's like fuck. I really wish I would have held on to those memories.
Exactly.
It's in the back of my head now. I don't.
No, it's crazy because like now that I sit here, like sometimes I'm like, damn, like we used to really, like I said, like when people talk about being outside now, it's like, we were really outside. Like I remember us all just grouped up, bro, all the time. Like how we were talking about.
You said it before we started. We were outside all the time, but we were the last of the Mohicans, bro.
Our generation, I feel like, was just like there. Like we were always active, like as a group. We weren't like I was saying, the social media shit. Like it's just making everybody like forget what's really
the love and life, what life is.
And like I feel like being a kid, when we were kids, bro, like. We were always doing crazy shit, like always having just a ball though, we're always just having fun, that's what we were all about. Like, I remember me and you, we would just since first grade, bro. We were in the same class, you know, like literally.
Miss Taylor, Miss Langston, Mr. Hanson, like
those were like we were literally in the same class, like, and that's when I feel like I kind of started my shenanigans, you know, like we were grown up, you know, just like as little kids.
I remember
you know?
first and second grade, you know, I was doing my thing. I got to the little honor shit, but it was probably like third grade and fourth grade when I had to start sitting outside.
No, yeah. Me too, though. I remember me and you would always see each other when we were getting in trouble. Like, we were like,
what's to do?
Yeah, like I remember we would be at recess sometimes, and if you got in trouble, I don't know.
Sit you on the wall.
Yeah, I would be walking. I would be there, yeah. And
that's why we so damn cool.
We
was fucking around.
Yeah, I just remember I would be like, "What's up, Brazil?" Like, and you'd be like, "What's up, man?" And I'm like, "Yo, we're here again."
So, David, do you notice any real differences when you come from the Inland Empire to here? Because I definitely, did notice when I was 14, came out here, I was like, wow, shit is crazy. Shit is crazy.
Yeah, especially you, because you grew up in the Inland Empire as a youngin, you know, so like you coming out here as a young adult, you probably saw a lot of things way different compared to down there.
You know what I'm saying? And my biggest problem was the fact that I came from Ontario. It's my background. So I was always looked at as a square. You know, they said that I had the white boy voice and stuff like that. But I still wanted to try to fit in, you know. I wanted to get my tattoo. I wanted to, fit in and try to, be with the gang. But I had to snap the fuck out of it and realize, this shit is stupid. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what your dad has told you from being in East Los Angeles, and a little bit about what you've noticed from when you come back over here?
He's just he's older, so he grew up back when it was just real about all just gangs, gang violence, drugs was a big thing, part of it too. I feel like the drugs epidemic was really just happening, like just drugs were really a big thing. And like just gang violence, my dad would always just tell me like being his age when he was growing up, all it was about was, wearing the right colors, having the right tattoos, you know what I'm saying? Like being from the right neighborhood, if you're not from the right neighborhood, then it's an issue, So he always would just tell me like the problems that he would have to go through young, he had to learn how to fight at a young age, and
people are born into it, and all they know is the things that are around them. They got to bond together. Otherwise, you're gonna fuck around and lose your life.
Exactly, and like my grandparents, so his parents, like they're all from Mexico, so like they came from Mexico to over here to East Los, thinking it was way better, not knowing that they're in the heart of it, the gangland, like this is what they're in the heart of it, so. Later, that's when they ended up going to Ontario and all towards that way. But, my dad would always tell me, like, being out here, it's not easy as a kid. You had to learn how to fight young. You got wearing just the wrong shirt, the wrong color, just, and you're a kid. You're just going to school, you're wearing the wrong color. It's an issue. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just here to get my fucking break.
He always tell me like so like I just would always hear his stories, and like so when I was growing up, I'm like, wow, like you are actually grateful that you don't have to deal with that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because like just I could only imagine if I had to grow up like that, I'd probably, because I'm already crazy, so I could only
that's my problem. Hey, mom, she saved my life from moving, from the Acre fields up like right up the street. I started staying away from those dudes. If I would have hung around, it would have been worse.
No,
so
and like I was just telling my mom too not too long ago, like I was like, I'm thankful that I didn't grow up in LA, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd probably be dead, or I'd probably be in prison right now, because out here it's a whole different lifestyle than out there compared to the IE. It's very, like I said, mellow and calm over there. So it's like, out here it's very hard.
There's always something going on.
Exactly. When you're a kid out here, there's so many kids out here from different neighborhoods. So you got them and them and them, and everyone's trying to.
You got people sending their kids from Inglewood all the way to Seal Beach to go to school.
Exactly.
So everybody gets around.
So like from the IE over here, it's just way fast living over here. Like me, I wouldn't ever probably move out here unless it was like really for like some like big money moves, and I knew like okay, I could really like.
What is it? real quick, what do you do for
solar? I do solar panels. Yeah, so I install them on the roof.
Okay.
And then I sell weed as well on the side. Like I used to do all that other shit, but the weed game is like it's legal, so you can't really get.
Can't go wrong.
You can never go wrong with it. You still make your money there, but it's just like I'd rather do that than fucking do all the other shit. The other shit gets you into that bullshit, So like I said, I learned at a young age to like, okay, I did my thing already. I have nothing to prove to nobody,
Shit. Yeah.
I already proved myself as a youngin', so like I feel like now like there's nothing I need to prove to anybody. Like none of these people are gonna pay my bills, or like if I go to jail, they're not gonna like, oh, here, like, you did this or you did that. No one's gonna do nothing for me. But usually it's your family, but sometimes you can't even trust your family, but mostly it's your family that's gonna be there for you, other than your homies,
At the end of the day. At the end of the day. I mean, shit, like I said, I can only credit my mom. Shit, that's
of course.
My cousin, my brother, my sister. I love y'all.
So like, being from the IE compared to just when I come out here just to eat, like you gotta just watch yourself, like it's not like how it is over there. You can't be. The thing is, a lot of people think they come to LA and they think like they could be all rowdy and like, it's not like that. Like you can't be like that out here. Out here, you have to be respectful because you don't know what you're walking into. Out here. You could be parked at this street, not knowing where you're at. Just you're probably in someone's neighborhood, and then seeing a car like that, they don't know who you are.
Exactly.
Like people out here live and die for this.
And it's insane because I've hung out with people who we go to somewhere on Vermont in LA. And I remember I had to go get gas, and he was sitting next to me, and he was just like, "Bro, I gotta get out of here. Like I can't sit here. Are your windows tinted?" I'm like, "Bro, relax. My windows are tinted. Like, just chill out, dog." But he was still tripping on I'm sitting there, and it's just like you get sucked into that lifestyle. You feel the need to say, this is close to home. This is who's gonna protect me. I'm gonna stay close here. When you go out to Ontario, you kind of realize like my family fought to get me out of here because they really wanted me to grow. They really wanted me to do my thing.
Exactly.
So that's always a blessing.